The airplane cabin hummed with the low drone of engines, a fragile piece shattered by a piercing cry that sliced through the air like a siren. Heads turned, passengers shifted uncomfortably in their seats, and Rachel Martinez clutched her 6-month-old daughter, Sophia, closer to her chest. Her whispered apologies tumbled out to anyone within earshot, her voice trembling as Sophia's wails echoed louder in the cramped economy section. The weight of judgmental stares bore into her back, and Rachel felt the sting of exhaustion, threatening to spill tears from her own brown eyes, shadowed by dark circles from sleepless nights. At 23, Rachel looked older than her years. Her once vibrant smile had faded under the strain of months as a single mother. Abandoned by her ex-boyfriend the moment she revealed her pregnancy, she navigated parenthood alone in a studio apartment that barely qualified as livable. Every day a tightrope walk between paying for diapers or groceries, keeping the lights on, or buying formula. This red-eye flight from Los Angeles to Chicago had cost her every penny of her savings, a desperate decision to attend her sister Carmen's wedding in 2 days. Despite their strained relationship, Rachel couldn't miss it. Her sister was the only family she had left since their mother's passing. The flight attendant, a stern woman in her 50s, approached with thinly veiled irritation. "Ma'am, you need to keep your baby quiet. Other passengers are trying to rest." "I'm trying," Rachel whispered, her voice cracking. "She's usually good, but she hasn't slept properly in days." The routine, the noise. Her words trailed off, sounding like excuses even to her. Sophia's cries intensified, and Rachel noticed passengers pulling out their phones, likely to record her embarrassment. Her face burned with shame as she imagined becoming an online story. The inconsiderate mother who ruined everyone's flight. "Maybe you should have thought about that before booking," muttered an elderly man across the aisle, loud enough for her to hear. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. She'd considered driving, but her old Honda had broken down 3 weeks ago. Repairs beyond her means. This flight, booked with money meant for next month's rent, was her only option. Dreading the landlord's inevitable call, she was about to retreat to the bathroom to calm Sophia when a gentle voice broke through her despair. "Excuse me, would you mind if I tried something?" Rachel looked up to see a man in an expensive navy suit, likely in his early 30s, with kind blue eyes and perfectly styled dark hair. His Italian leather shoes and platinum watch screamed wealth, a stark contrast to the economy seating. What?" she stammered, confused by his offer. "I have experience with babies," he said with a warm smile. "My sister has 3 kids, and I've learned a few tricks. Sometimes a different voice or touch helps. Would you trust me to try?" Rachel hesitated, wary of strangers, especially men showing sudden interest. But his demeanor felt genuine, and desperation nudged her to agree. "Okay," she whispered, carefully transferring Sophia into his arms. The moment Sophia settled against his shoulder, a miracle unfolded. Her cries softened to whimpers, then silence, as the man's large hand moved in gentle circles on her tiny back, humming a soft melody like a lullaby. "How did you?" Rachel breathed, amazed by the sudden peace. "Lots of practice," he replied quietly. "Sometimes babies just need a change, scenery or arms." The cabin settled into grateful quiet, passengers' glares turning to curiosity and approval. The flight attendant even smiled as she passed, nodding appreciatively. "What's her name?" he asked, holding Sophia with practiced ease. "Sophia," Rachel replied. "I'm Rachel. I can't thank you enough." "Nice to meet you both." "I'm James," he said with a chuckle. "Don't mention it." We've all had moments where everything feels overwhelming. As Sophia drifted towards sleep, Rachel relaxed for the first time in days, watching how naturally James held her daughter, unbothered by the wrinkled, drool, dampened suit jacket. "You're not sitting in economy, are you?" she asked, noting his attire. James smiled mysteriously. "Let's just say I like to mix things up. First class can be predictable." His tone hinted at a deeper story, but Rachel, too grateful and exhausted to press, felt her eyelids grow heavy as the plane's hum, and Sophia's peace lulled her. "I should take her back," she murmured, though Sophia looked more comfortable than ever. "She's fine here if you want to rest," James offered. "You look like you could use some sleep." Rachel wanted to protest, to cling to her independence, but exhaustion and his kindness overwhelmed her defenses. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. Rest, I've got her." Against every instinct. Rachel felt her head grow heavy, leaning against his shoulder as consciousness faded, enveloped in a safety she hadn't known in months. What Rachel didn't know was that James had watched her struggle for an hour, his heart aching for this young mother. Nor did she know that James Whitmore was the CEO of Whitmore Industries, a major charitable foundation, and this encounter would change their lives. She stirred awake to the announcement of a 30-minute descent into Chicago, disoriented by the warmth of James's shoulder. Sophia slept peacefully in his arms. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she whispered, sitting up quickly. "I can't believe I fell asleep on you." "You were exhausted," James said unfazed. "Both of you needed rest." Sophia woke once, but I kept her calm. He transferred the baby back gently. "She's an angel when peaceful." Rachel marveled at Sophia's serene face, a stark contrast to her usual stress-induced cries. "She really is. It's just been so hard. Everything feels like it's falling apart." The words spilled out before she could stop, and she regretted the overshare. "Want to talk about it?" James asked gently. "Sometimes it helps to tell someone uninvolved." Rachel hesitated, pride and past disappointments urging silence, but his demeanor felt safe. "I'm a single mom," she began quietly. "Sophia's father left when I told him I was pregnant. I worked double shifts at a diner in LA, barely affording our tiny apartment. My car broke down, I'm behind on rent, and I used my last savings for this ticket because my sister's getting married. We haven't spoken in 2 years after a fight, when I got pregnant. She thought I was throwing my life away. She only invited me because mom guilt tripped her." James listened intently, offering no platitudes. "That takes incredible courage," he said. "Raising a child alone, working multiple jobs, and still trying to repair that relationship. You're stronger than you realize." Rachel scoffed. "You don't know me. I could have made terrible choices." "Maybe," he acknowledged. "But I've watched you apologize to everyone, handle Sophia gently despite stress, and go to a wedding where you might not be welcome. That's not someone who makes bad choices. That's someone who cares deeply." His words struck her. When had anyone praised her character? Her ex criticized her. Her boss saw her as disposable, and Carmen made her feel like a failure. "What about you?" she deflected. "You never said what you do, and why someone who can afford first class is here." James grew thoughtful. "I work in business. Sometimes I prefer economy to meet interesting people. First class forgets real life." "That's a diplomatic non-answer," Rachel observed. "Are you a mystery man I should worry about?" James laughed. "Nothing dangerous. I try to help people when I can, without fanfare." Before she could press, the plane descended, breaking their conversation. At baggage claim, Rachel gathered her duffel bag, its broken zipper a struggle. James offered help, but she insisted on managing alone, a habit born of necessity. As they walked through the terminal, she felt the contrast, his confident stride versus her tight grip on Sophia, dreading her confrontation with Carmen. "Where are you staying?" James asked. "A motel near the venue," she replied, omitting its grim details. James frowned. Chicago's unpredictable in October. Those budget places might lack heating. Have you considered? I can't afford better. Rachel cut him off, cheeks burning. I appreciate it. But I don't need you to fix everything. You're right, he said, raising his hands. I tend to fix things when I care. Sorry. His phone buzzed. An emergency call shifted him into CEO mode. Rachel overheard his firm stance on vetting a housing program for single mothers, sparking realization. When he finished, she asked, "That housing program, how long has it run?" 3 years, he replied. Helped over 500 families. How do people find it? Outreach coordinators, social services, community referrals. Why? Rachel's anger flared. How convenient you sat next to a single mom, fitting your program's demographic. Eager to hear my struggles. Rachel, it's not like that, James said quickly. Helping you wasn't calculated. It was decency. I don't believe you, she snapped, though his voice wavered her resolve. People like you don't help people like me without gain. I understand single mothers, because my mom raised me alone, after my father left at 7, he said quietly. She worked 3 jobs, went hungry so I could eat, held her head high despite the world's judgment. Every woman we help reminds me of her. Rachel's anger faltered, seeing vulnerability in him. Even if true, you weren't honest. You let me share while knowing you could help with a call. If I'd told you who I was, would you have talked or let me hold Sophia? He challenged. She realized he was right. She'd have been suspicious or intimidated. Before she could respond, Sophia cried, cutting through her turmoil. I have to go, she said, walking away, heartbreaking, wondering if she'd lost a solution or escaped manipulation. The motel room matched its grim reviews. Stained carpets, a rattling heater, thin walls echoing neighbors' conversations. Rachel sat on the lumpy bed, mending her only nice dress, Sophia beside her. Tomorrow was Carmen's wedding, and she wavered on attending. A text from Carmen confirmed the rehearsal dinner, her polite distance unchanged. Rachel replied affirmatively, hiding her doubts and regrets about James. A knock startled her. Through the peephole, she saw Carmen in an elegant coat. Carmen. Rachel opened the door, shocked. I came to talk before tomorrow, Carmen said, sitting carefully. We need to clear the air. If you're here to say I don't belong, save it, Rachel bristled. No. I'm here to apologize, Carmen said. 2 years ago I said terrible things. Called you irresponsible. Selfish for having a baby you couldn't afford. I remember, Rachel said softly. What you don't know is I was pregnant too, Carmen whispered. Michael and I had been trying. When I learned about Sophia, I was angry. It felt unfair you got what I wanted unplanned. I lost the baby 2 weeks after our fight. Instead of calling you, I buried myself in work and wedding plans, pretending I was fine. Rachel reached for Carmen's hand, tears flowing. I'm so sorry. I wish I'd known. That's not the main thing, Carmen said. Yesterday a man called, James Whitmore. He met you on the flight. Said there was a misunderstanding. He asked how to reach you, and when I said I was your sister, he asked to meet. I did. You met him? Rachel asked, alarmed. He said he's been looking for you for 2 days, not for a program, but because he's in love with you, Carmen said. He spent 20 minutes detailing your conversation, how Sophia slept in his arms, how brave you are, how you reminded him why he started his charity. He wasn't a CEO recruiting. He was a man who lost something precious. Rachel's mind raced. But the housing program. He was in Chicago for business, flies economy to connect with people. Helping you wasn't a scheme. He gave you his card to see you again, fearing you'd think he was buying affection. He's dealt with people seeing him as a wallet. Rachel's anger crumbled. We're from different worlds. Carmen showed a news article. 3 years ago, James established a housing initiative for single mothers in memory of his mother, Maria Santos Whitmore, a single mom from East LA who worked tirelessly. He understands your world, Carmen said. Has at the hotel tomorrow? Hoping to explain, I invited him. What if I'm not brave enough? Rachel whispered. Then you'll wonder what if. Carmen replied. You're the bravest person I know. The next evening, Rachel stood outside the hotel ballroom in an emerald gown borrowed from Carmen, Sophia upstairs with a babysitter. Through the glass, she saw Carmen radiant, guests mingling, and James at a back table, watching the door. Their eyes met, and she saw love, real, honest, overwhelming, making her feel valued. He approached, hope and fear in his eyes. I was afraid you wouldn't come, he said softly. I was too, Rachel admitted. But someone said bravery is doing the right thing despite fear. Should have been honest about my feelings, James said. When Sophia slept in my arms, and you trusted me, my life changed. I don't want to help you as a charity case. I want to build a life with you. I want to be Sophia's father because I love her, and I want to wake up to you every day. A tears streamed down Rachel's cheeks. Joy, not despair. I love you too. I fell for you when you held Sophia, but I was scared of hurt. I almost threw it away. You never have to fear that with me, he said, cupping her face. I'll prove you and Sophia are my world. Their kiss sealed a love born from kindness, trust, and courage. Dance, he asked. She took his hand, knowing they'd face challenges together, not as benefactor and case, but as partners. Sophia slept upstairs, dreaming of the loving family awaiting her. Weeks later, Rachel moved into a Whitmore housing unit, starting a diner job with flexible hours. James visited often, proposing one evening as Sophia played. They married quietly, blending their worlds, his wealth, her resilience, into a family built on mutual respect. Whitmore Industries thrived under their joint vision, expanding programs while Rachel pursued nursing school, her confidence restored. Years later, as Sophia giggled with her new siblings, Rachel reflected on that flight. A cry, a hand, and a leap of faith had woven a tapestry of love and purpose, enduring beyond circumstance.